If you feel like you're in a bit of a crossroads in your life, like you're in transition or you have a massive decision to make about something, whether it be a dating situation, a relationship, a career, a job, maybe just a location that you're in right now, and you're trying to figure out if it feels right anymore. You don't know where to go, and everything feels so uncertain and unknown. And there is this little voice in you saying that this is not quite right, but the fear and the anxiety is so strong. And how do we tell the difference between the two? If you're in this place, this episode is for you. I'm going to share something with you that I've been moving through personally around this because it's the end of the snake year and I'm being really called to let go of something I've got my fingertips so gripped into, and maybe you can resonate. I'm also going to be answering one of those biggest questions that I get asked a lot, and that is how do you tell the difference between anxiety and intuition when you're trying to figure out and get clarity on whether something is right for you? Because when we are anxiously attached, fear can be so loud and it can shout over what is our truth and what is our intuition and what is our soul. And it can be so quiet that we just don't know how to listen to it. I'm going to talk us through what it looks like when fear is actually running the show and what it looks like when the soul is guiding you, what the difference is, and a practical tool that you can implement into your decision making today to help you get that clarity on whatever you are going through. All right, my love, let's get into it. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Relationship Rehab Podcast. I know I skipped a week. I didn't release an episode last week, and there is a very good reason for that. And it is something that I am going to talk about today because I've been dealing with something deeply personal that has required me to take the space to be able to really sit with the feelings, the fears, the thoughts, the emotions, everything that comes up when we need to make a big decision, when we're at that point in our lives where we need to say yes or no to something and we know it's going to change our lives. So it's a pretty big deal and I needed the space. So I want to thank you for your patience. And I've moved through it. And now I'm ready to talk about it. It has just happened and is still happening, but I'm definitely in a much better place, in a calmer place. And I really do believe that reflecting upon it when you're in this space is so much more helpful. And I know that a lot of us are going through big changes in our lives right now, whether it is in our career, our relationships, our location choices, our business, our spirituality, whatever it may be, there is massive transitions happening for everyone, or at least it seems like for everyone, because it is the end of Snake Year. At the time of recording, it is the tail end of Snake Year. And what I know about this, and I'm no expert in any means, but it is the last shedding. And the Snake Year really is calling us to let go of the thing that we are really holding on tightly with. The thing that we've got our grip in, and it is so scary to let it go and to realize that whatever we're holding on to really has run its course and really is being invited to leave our lives. And in a way, it's gentle because it's coming from the intuition, but in other ways, it's not. It's like we really need to face our biggest and darkest fears and shadows. So, this is the journey that I have been on, and I'm excited to tell you more about it because if you're listening to this episode, then chances are you are also going through something very similar where you may have stayed somewhere, whether it be a job, a city, a relationship, and not because it was right, but because it felt familiar. And now you're in this space where you're deciding whether to release this thing from your life, or you have, and you're like, oh, I don't know what's next. And the uncertainty feels so scary. Even though I know it's the right decision, I'm dealing with a lot. So if that sounds like you, you are so welcome into this episode. And if you are new here, my name is Samantha, an attachment trauma therapist and relationship coach and host of this relationship rehab podcast. And on this podcast, we do talk a lot about attachment styles, but I believe that on the journey, what it ultimately comes down to is self-love and creating the life that really is something that is so in alignment with who we are and who we are becoming as secure women and secure men. So I do talk a lot about my own personal experiences on this podcast, even though I do not suffer with anxious attachment anymore. I do believe that the journey still continues to unfold and unravel as we continue to heal. We're just up leveling every single time. So if you're going through something, a big transition, a big choice, and you're having to make a big, brave, bold adult decision, that's what becoming securely attached is all about. And another reason why I wanted to record this episode, not only to just share my experience and story of what I'm going through right now on my own journey, but one of the biggest questions that I get asked as an attachment specialist is how can I tell the difference between anxiety and intuition? How do I know that it's my intuition and not my anxious attachment when I'm staying in this relationship or I'm attracted to this person? So I'm going to touch upon that as well because it is relevant to the story that I'm about to share. All right, I'm going to just get straight into it, guys. I'm not going to divert any longer. So it's funny that what I'm experiencing right now is reminding me of what I went through in a relationship, actually, because everything is tied together in such a beautiful way. And the journey I went on when I decided to leave a relationship and make that decision. So I'm going to pull on the similarities of both experiences that I've been through. But lately, for almost a year now, I have been feeling a certain pull, a certain calling to leave Thailand. This is all I've known for the last 10 years is life in Thailand, and I've gotten very, very comfortable here. In fact, I've gotten a bit too comfortable, and I have everything here. I have my whole life, my friends, and my comfort zone. It has very much become my comfort zone. But this time last year, I was traveling, coming back to Thailand from being in Nepal, and I just thought, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. It feels complete. I don't really know what else I can get from this. I feel like I've hit a glass ceiling and I'm ready for something new, a new chapter, and I'm ready to grow. And I think that staying in Thailand is going to keep me stuck in a way. And what I've come to realize when I use the word stuck, it doesn't necessarily mean physically stuck. And you can see this in relationships as well. You may not be physically stuck. You may still be moving forward, meaning getting engaged or getting married and having a baby or moving in together or going on holiday together, whatever it is. Like I was not physically stuck. I was still moving forward, but there was something on a soul level that was saying to me, this isn't it. The more you keep investing in this thing, the more I'm going to get louder. Now, when I first started to hear it this time last year, I brushed it off to the side. I'm like, no, it makes no sense that I'm feeling this way because I love Thailand. I love being here. My whole life is here. Why would I want to move back to the UK? I must be insane. And when we think about this in a relationship terms, why would I leave this relationship if this person is treating me well or it's better than being alone? Like all of these types of fear-based thoughts will start to come up for us and we'll talk ourselves out of it and we'll continue on this path. And the soul and the intuition will be like, all right, okay, we'll be here still whispering to you, but you go ahead and you continue living your life. And that's exactly what I did. I did go back to the UK for the summer, and this deep inner knowing did not leave me. It didn't leave me. There was almost a part of me that was like, this is where you are meant to be. You are meant to be back here in the UK with your family. There is something coming for you. But because I couldn't see what that thing was, because I couldn't control how this journey was unfolding, I was so fearful and anxious about that, not realization as such, but that thought of having to move back to the UK. And my ego took over. And it became a battle of the ego versus the soul. The ego was winning. The ego was telling me, no, it's better that you live in Thailand. You feel more safe and comfortable being in Thailand because now it feels familiar. And who wouldn't want to live in Thailand? You'd be mad to leave this place. And so that's when we can start to differentiate the difference between the fear and the intuition. Fear is loud. And I heard this phrase before. Fear screams in paragraphs. Like it is so overwhelming that it's almost like we have no choice, or that, of course, we have to follow it because it's so loud. And because it's so loud, we feel like it's our intuition or our soul because it feels so present. Whereas our soul and our intuition is actually whispering in sentences. It's just there underneath all of the noise, just poking at you gently, just letting you know that this isn't it, or this is it. This is the way, this is the path, or this is not the path. So when we talk about the difference between fear and intuition, and I felt it in my relationships as well with anxious attachment. The anxious attachment was so loud, thinking to myself, why the hell would I leave this person? He's so amazing. He's so attractive. He does treat me well sometimes. And the times that he doesn't treat me well, I can put that down to trauma, or he's having a bad day. And then I'll start making all the excuses because the deep rooted fear there was the fear of being abandoned by this person, of not being chosen by this person, or being alone. And that's why I would then override my intuition telling me this isn't it. I don't think long term you're going to be happy with this person, or this person is now starting to control you a little bit, starting to look at your phone, starting to tell you what to wear. This isn't it. Please listen to me. But because it's soft and quiet and gentle, we sometimes cannot hear it at all, or we're not acknowledging it and we're ignoring it. And this is exactly what I noticed on my very recent journey as I applied for a long-term visa to come back to Thailand, and I came back to Thailand. However, the more I resisted, I feel like there was always a part of me that knew that I was going to reach this decision because I didn't sign a long-term lease. And maybe you're in the same books. There might be a part of you that knows that this isn't it. Therefore, you're not moving forward and moving in with this person or agreeing to marry this person or whatever. But we just don't have the courage yet to acknowledge it. And sometimes we need to go back in order to realize. Sometimes we need to go back for the soul to really start to push us, for us to start taking action in that way. So I took a short-term lease in this beautiful apartment that I'm in right now. And I gave myself a timeline. I said, okay, let me give myself 4 months to really make this big, big decision that is ultimately going to change my life. But again, I ran away from it. I avoided it. I just got on with life. I just got on with it. And it wasn't until the end of January. And bear in mind, the snake year for me has been a lot of shedding, a lot of releasing, a lot of letting go. Things have shifted and changed in so many levels for me in my life. This was almost like the last one. So at the end of January, my soul was like, all right, we really need to push this energy into her space. And my body started to become unwell. All of January, I was quite unwell with food poisoning and cold and just feeling run down and fatigue. And what I know this to be true now as I look back, my intuition was trying to slow me down because I was keeping myself busy and distracted from actually sitting with myself and my feelings and considering this big decision. I just wanted to distract and run away from it because it was too big to sit with. So I was becoming unwell and I had to spend time at home with myself. And this is when that feeling, that calling, it got louder. And the more I slowed down the louder it became, but not louder to the point where it had me in a chokehold in the neck, like you have to do this, otherwise you're gonna XYZ, you're gonna be alone, you're gonna be abandoned, you're gonna be rejected. It wasn't that kind of feeling. It was more of a feeling of, if I don't listen to this, I think I'm gonna regret it. I am now being called to fully surrender and trust in this feeling, even though I don't know what's on the other side, even though there is some type of fear of uncertainty. And for all my type A ambitious girlies, you will know that when we are in control of something, that's when we feel safe. When we're in control of the relationship, when we're hearing from them and everything's going smoothly, that's when we feel safe. When we are, when we know what's going to happen, when we have a plan and we can take control of those things, we feel safe. And as I lay on the sofa, thinking to myself, I have to move out of this condo next month. I really do need to reach a decision. And what I did, and what may be helpful for you as well, if you are in this space where you have to make a decision whether to stay or go in a job, a relationship, a city, I started to visualize how I would feel if option A was my reality or option B was my reality. Before I move forward with this, I think it's important that we differentiate the difference between emotion and feeling. Emotion is something that you experience in the body. So when you experience anxiety, that is an emotion. It may show up in your chest, in your stomach, in your skin, if it's starting to become jittery or clammy. If you're experiencing fear, again, it will be in the stomach, in the chest. Your breathing becomes shallow and your throat will start to hurt. So emotion is more of an energy that is happening in your body. It's like an activation. Whereas a feeling, it doesn't scare you. It just lets you know. It's like that quiet whispering voice within you. And I believe we all know what this is. We all have some sort of understanding of it. We're just not giving it space. We're just not listening to it. I want to invite you to think about some of the decisions that you may have made in the past based on your intuition, or some of the things that may have happened in your life when you just knew. And because you didn't take action on it, God took action on it. And for example, I had a client who knew that her partner was not it, and they were married and they were getting on with life, and she was having this feeling for a while, but she ignored it because she was so scared to leave. And so she ignored it, she got sick, it got louder, and continued to ignore it. So what God did was actually take action on her behalf, and the husband then turned around out of the blue, quote unquote, and said that he wanted a divorce. So it will happen one way or another if it's in your highest good. It's whether it will happen on your terms, whether you make that empowered decision, or it will happen for you in other ways where you may be caught off guard, or it may come out of the blue. A lot of people feel like this in their jobs as well, where they know this isn't the right job for them, but they don't listen and then they end up getting fired. So I thought to myself, this is what's going to happen. Something is going to happen that's going to be really, really uncomfortable, that's going to force me into moving back to the UK, because I knew deep down that's where it was going. And I didn't want that. I didn't want anyone getting sick or anything drastic for me to now then make a very forceful move. So I lay on the couch and I started to visualize and feel into what is life like if I stay in Thailand? Like, what would the next 5 years look like? And you can do this as well. How, if I said yes to staying in this job, city, relationship, what does that look like? And not from a hope perspective, not from a fantasy perspective, but see if you can do your best to really bring in the reality of the situation based off of the information that you already have about this person, about this job. So, what does that look like in 5 years? And listen to what's happening in your body and what that feeling is. Is it a feeling of dread? Is it a feeling of excitement? Is it a feeling of deep inner knowing of like, it's a no, it's a yes. Like you will know in your body. Ask your body. If you're a woman, you can ask your womb. Your womb is such a source of wisdom. And this is what I did. I placed my hands on my womb and I asked directly to my womb, is this it for me? Is this where my life is? Is this where my future is? And it was like this, almost like the only way I can describe it is that when I went to my mother when I was a little girl and I asked her if Santa Claus was real, and I looked up to her face and she had this like face of sadness, of like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to tell you the truth, my love, my child. No, Santa's not real, and I'm so sorry. And it was almost like we were sad, we were grieving. And that's what I saw when I asked the question, is my future in Thailand? It was like my mother's face of grief and a subtle and soft and gentle no. And then I imagined option B. But what was interesting was I didn't know what option B really looked like. I could make up some thoughts of what the future could look like. So instead, again, I placed my hands on my womb and I said, moving back to the UK or leaving Thailand, is this my future? And it was like this very soft, gentle yes. But what came with that was, but you have to trust. But you have to trust and surrender and have faith. You have to walk in faith and not fear right now because you don't know what's next. And that's the beauty of life. And that's what the lesson we're trying to teach you. These are all the messages that were coming through to me. We're trying to teach you how to surrender. We're trying to teach you how to be led because for so long you have tried to control everything. And look where it's got you. Well, it's got me in an incredible place, but it's got me into some sticky situations as well when I'm trying to control everything. I've lost love, I've lost relationships, I've lost work opportunities because I haven't been able to surrender. So I took a big deep breath and out came this howl. And that's when I knew that I had accepted it on a body level because then I was moving into that grief phase because it is a grief, it is a loss, it is sadness. So I allowed myself to grieve. So, my love, if you know in your heart of hearts that this thing, this person, this life that you're leading right now is making a different direction, is being called to be released. Allow yourself to grieve. This is huge. Being in transition, it's exciting, but gosh, it's scary. So I called a friend. My friend came over because I wanted support. I needed support. I deserved support. I was ready to receive support. And I was able to verbally process with her as well what was happening for me. And it was just lovely to be held and seen and heard by a fellow woman who got it. She knew what I meant. So we grieved together, and that was such a beautiful experience. And then that night, I slept so well. Before, I kept waking up all the time, kept waking up and not knowing why I was waking up. I was having uncomfortable dreams. And it was almost like I was restless and irritated by myself at the moment. So I had a really great sleep. And then I woke up the next morning feeling so calm, feeling so sure, feeling so at peace. And I know it's because I'm following God's plan, God's timing, not mine anymore. And I was so relieved and thankful that I had gotten to the space finally. Now, bear in mind, I know nothing about logistics. And to be honest with you, right now, at time of recording, I still don't know a lot of the logistics. I have to move out of this apartment in 2 weeks and I don't know where I'm going. I have ideas, I have options, of course, but nothing is set in stone. So I could spiral. I could be in full fear right now and anxiety, but I'm choosing not to be because I'm choosing to trust and I'm walking in faith and not fear. And I know I just know, I just have this peace over me right now that everything is going to be okay. And I share this with you, my love, because I hope that it inspires you to know that you will also have the same feeling when you start to follow your heart. And I don't mean your heart and your as in your anxious attachment who really wants to be chosen and really wants to be in this relationship, even though he's only able to give you the bare minimum. Maybe what you're feeling is that you're calling love, it isn't really love, not in the way that you deserve to be shown. But when you allow yourself to admit that you deserve better, you deserve more, you deserve different, God is there with you and He's supporting you every step of the way. And when you start to live in alignment and you start to live according to what your soul wants for you, that's when you'll experience true peace. Not when we're chasing, not when we're proving or trying to make things happen that are just not happening. And we're burning ourselves out in this career or relationship to make something happen or to fix it, that we're exhausted, we're fatigued, we're not able to eat or sleep or focus, we're breaking out in acne, we've got diarrhea, whatever is happening in your body knows. Your body is full of wisdom and it will tell you when something is not right for you. But our body will tell us when we are constantly overriding ourselves, if we are in a state of self-abandonment and we're not listening. So that's a space that I'm in at the moment, my loves. It's going to be a journey as I transition into this new chapter of my life, as we transition into horse year, and just follow that feeling. Whatever the snake year is inviting you to lean into, follow it. Even though it feels uncertain, unknown, scary, if it's right for you, it will be right for you. And how can we be more in trust and be more in faith, knowing that we are going to be okay. We are held, we are supported, not only by ourselves and our loved ones, but by something higher than ourselves as well. And when we truly surrender, that is what it means to truly surrender. I think I've talked about surrender over the years, but not really understanding what it exactly means. And now I get it. Now I feel like I get it and that I'm going through this lesson. So I want to take just a little bit of time to focus specifically on the segment of how to tell if it's anxiety or intuition for those who are wondering the difference between them if you are dating someone or in a relationship. And when I say relationship, it doesn't even necessarily need to be a person. It could be a relationship with a location, a city, with your job. And our attachment system is wired with a specific core wound from our childhood, a fear, if you will. For the anxious, it is a fear of abandonment. So when anxiety is in control, what we will notice is emotions and thoughts that are coming from that wound of abandonment. So it could be something like, if you don't do this, he's going to leave you. If you leave this relationship, you're never going to find anyone else and you will be alone forever. Or we might start playing the what if game, but what if I don't find someone better than this? What if I can change him in some way or fix him or change something about myself so the relationship becomes better? Or we cling on to hope or the good times, or it's not so bad actually because I'm having a really great day today. So maybe I was wrong in thinking that this isn't it. It could be the other way as well, especially for the more avoidant attachment, where their fear is intimacy. They have an intimacy wound, where they will become fearful and anxious over the relationship developing, over the relationship becoming serious, or this person wanting more from them, and they want to run away. They want to leave the relationship because that fear is so loud. So just notice when you are curious about your thoughts, when you're becoming aware of them, is this fear talking? And anxiety will interpret uncertainty as danger. If we don't know what's going to happen next, then that's the danger zone. And our attachment system will try everything in its power to move us away from that because that is damn scary. And this is why I think it's important to really start to strengthen your spiritual muscles. whether you believe in God or the universe or source or higher self, whatever it is, strengthen your spiritual connection to something higher than yourself. I don't think I would be able to have moved through my life and made the decisions that I did and go get over the breakups that I went through if it wasn't for my relationship with God. So here's a practical way to start to tell the difference between anxiety and intuition and how you can start to understand how both are showing up for you in your experience. So this is not mine, this acronym. I cannot take credit for it, but I heard it somewhere. I really can't remember where. And so unfortunately, I can't credit the person who came up with this. But it's almost like a little checklist, and it's called the SIFT check, SIFT. And why this stayed with me is because I used it when I didn't understand the difference between anxiety and intuition. This is what I did. So S stands for sensation. So just like I said, what is the emotion that you're feeling in your body right now? Is it tight and urgent? And you're having sweaty palms and you're feeling activated in your nervous system. That is a clear, clear sign that is anxiety and fear. And we should not be making any type of life decisions when we are in a state of activation, for sure. See if you can down regulate yourself into more of a grounded state before you even start making any decisions. So maybe that's where you need to start. If you're feeling chronic anxiety or fear or overwhelm, that's where you start. How can I calm my nervous system? How can I down regulate so I can feel more calm and clear and grounded in myself? And from that space, then I will start to make those decisions. I saw this, I think it was a meme on Instagram where when the waters are really choppy, we can't see in the water. And the next time you're around a body of water, try this because I have. If when you're making like a splash in the water, you can't see in the water. And this is what they say when there's a storm happening within, you cannot see, you cannot get clarity on what you need to make a decision about. You cannot see anything and be clear about anything. But when you stop splashing, when the ripples stop, and the water calms, then you can start to see inside the water, as long as it's not mucky, obviously. But you can see inside the water, and that is when we will start to have clarity, when we are still, when we take a pause, which is why I've had to take space for myself because I know that I needed to give it to myself in order to gain that clarity. We can see what we need to do. We can see the next step. We know that the decision is that we need to make. So notice the sensation. Is it tight? Is it urgent? Is it clammy? Is it jittery? Or do you feel calm? Do you feel grounded when you ask yourself the question around the decision that you need to make? What are the sensations that come up for you? I is impulse. So anxiety and fear is a very reactive response. So when we're feeling anxious in our relationships, what we want to do is chase or control or convince or prove or please or perform or perfect ourselves. This is all activated reactions from anxiety in order to keep that person or whatever it is. Whereas when we are in a grounded state, and this is coming from our intuition, it's more of a response. It's not pushing you. It's not putting you in a very uncomfortable space. Instead, it's asking you to pause. It's asking you to choose. It's asking you to, be clear on your values and your vision when you're making this decision. So it's more of a very calm response. Like I said, I just made the decision and the choice. The grief came, which was not the same as fear. Sadness, it was more of the acceptance of the thing, of the acceptance of the decision. And then so much calm the next morning. So maybe it's not an immediate thing, but just notice how you are in the days leading, in the days after you make the decision. Maybe you say to yourself, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose option A and just see the next day how you feel. Or option B, see the next day how you feel. F stands for fear story. Is there a fear story? So, what is the catastrophe that is happening in your mind right now? What are you afraid of? So if it's anxiety, what will normally come up is I'm afraid I'm going to lose them. I'm afraid I'm going to lose the relationship. I'm afraid I'm going to lose myself if I get into this relationship. If it's intuition, like the fears that I'm handling right now is the fear of just not knowing, the fear of uncertainty. That's the difference. And then T is truth. So if I was to remove this fear, remove the fear of abandonment, remove the fear of rejection, remove the fear of not knowing, what do I know? So what I do know is that I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be okay. And worst case scenario, that's also a really great exercise to do. What is the worst case scenario here? That I go back and I realize that actually it wasn't my intuition talking to me all along. And I just come back to Thailand. So what is the worst case scenario for you? Is it that you'll be single for a while? Okay, great. How can we make that a really beautiful time for you? Your sacred single era. That would be the worst case scenario. Or if you lose a job and decide to go traveling, maybe the worst case scenario is just you'll be back at square one and back in your hometown and getting another job. So sometimes fear is false evidence appearing real, and it will have us at its grip that we think this is the be all and end all. That if we make this decision, it's permanent, when in reality, nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And you may think that leaving this relationship, this person, is permanent. And if this person, if the truth is that this person is the person for you, and there's something that is just not working out right now, and you decide to take a break, that's what your intuition is telling you. During the break, like sometimes, okay, if it's a relationship, maybe you don't go through full on breakup just yet, but maybe propose a break and see how you feel in the break. This is what I did in one of my relationships as well. So instead of making that big decision, test it out and see how you feel. Maybe you were on the break and you're like, yeah, I'm not meant to be with this person, even though they're amazing. They're not my person. And you continue then with the break turning into a breakup. Or you're on the break and you think, actually, I do think I'm supposed to be with this person, but now I understand. Now that I'm out of it and I gained some clarity, now I understand what needs to be worked on. So many relationships have breaks, and that's great. I think that's quite healthy because it allows you to breathe and come back together. So I know that your situation right now may be quite different to mine, or it may not be. Let me know. Let me know in the comments or send me a DM and let me know if this episode has really supported you and what you're going through. I'd love to hear. A lot of people have been getting in touch with me because I've kind of said something on my Instagram about going through this, and the amount of comments and DMs I've got about people going through the same thing is just like amazing. And this is why I thought, right, let me get on the podcast and talk about this because sometimes we feel like we're alone in whatever we're experiencing, but actually, when we start to talk about it and we get vulnerable, we start to notice actually there's a collective experience happening right now, and people will start to really relate. So, I'm just going to wrap up this episode by letting you know that whatever you're going through, whatever decision that you need to make, just know that you are really brave. You're really brave just for being here and starting to consider becoming more aware that a decision needs to be made and considering making this decision, or if you've already made the decision, what courage you have. And if it feels right, I'm so proud of you. And if you're battling with fears of uncertainty and not knowing, I'm with you. I know, but everything is working out for your own good. I truly, truly believe that. When we start to release control and we surrender to God's timing and plan and not ours, that's when things just start to happen for us. And everything just starts to flow. I don't know about you, but I've been trying to do things here in Thailand and even in the business, and it just doesn't feel The word is not easy, but it just doesn't feel right. I don't know how else to describe it. But when we do start to be in alignment, things flow easily to us. We don't have to sacrifice ourselves or push things in order for it to happen. Of course, it can happen. And we see this happening all the time, right? Where people push for businesses and money and relationships and they force it. And then they end up getting really unwell or burning out or crashing in some way. So the more that we listen and follow our intuitive voices and those nudges, even though we're scared and we're uncertain, we can stay strong in the truth that we are being guided always. And nothing is ever permanent. And even you going ahead with this decision and surrendering takes a lot of guts. And there's a lot of lessons there for you. So even if you do a full circle and come back around like I did last year, that's all right. That's all right. There's more lessons to be learned. And one way or another, God will align you back on your path. And that's not to say that Thailand was never my path. It was. And maybe this relationship was your path or this career was your path once upon a time, but it has now served you. It is now complete. Whatever you were meant to learn from being in this space, you have integrated. And now you're ready for the next level, for the next chapter of your life. Your soul is craving to expand and evolve. And it knows that it's not going to expand and evolve in the space that you are in right now. And I'm going to leave you with this Ayurvedic story that my friend lovingly told me when I broke the news to her about leaving Thailand. And she's an Ayurvedic facilitator, practitioner, whatever you call them. She said, this is what the soul does. The soul is never in the driving seat. The soul is the car, if you will. The soul is the car, and the soul is already programmed to know where it's going to go. So if the car is like, okay, this is where I'm going to go, I am heading towards, let's say, New York. New York is a representation of your life purpose, your life path, what is meant for you. This is where we're heading. This is our life journey. So we're going along and you're in the driver's seat. We're going along and you might pick up some people. They're like, oh yeah, hop in. I'll give you a ride. Where are you going? Oh, I'm going to Charlotte or I'm going to New Orleans. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, we can divert off of the road and we can take the more scenic route and we start to come off path in a way. And our soul will allow us these moments and these lessons, and there's lots of experiences to be had along the way. It's patient with us. But if we're taking on too many routes and we're too far off of the path and we're not listening to the soul and the GPS that it has already ingrained in the car, if we're not following the GPS of the soul, it will in some way start to make the car break down. It may puncture our tires, so we're no longer able to move forward. So this is when we start to get sick in the body, or circumstances start to happen in our external life that forces us into making that decision. So one way or another, our soul will get us on that path. Now it's up to you, my love, in what way you will honor what the soul is trying to tell you, what God is trying to lead you, and where you are meant to go. I really hope that this episode was helpful for you if you're going through something similar. And like I said, I would love to hear your story. If you want to DM me or just comment down below, I love to read your comments and know that you're listening to this episode. It really is so wonderful to hear from you. So don't be afraid, don't be a stranger in getting in touch with me. And if this episode hits you right in the heart and you have a bestie or someone in your life that really needs to hear this as well, they're also going through something where they have to listen to their soul and not their head, send this episode to them and pass on the love. And until next time, till next episode, my love, I will always keep you updated on all the things, as well as sharing all the wisdom and all the experiences and lessons that I go through in my life, but also my clientele as well, who are also healing from anxious attachment and becoming more secure So stick around and give this episode a rate and review as well so we can get this podcast out there for more people to discover. Until next time, sending you so much love. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode on the Relationship Rehab podcast. If you really enjoyed this episode, it would really mean a lot to me if you was to share this episode with a friend who really needs to hear what has been talked about today, and also to rate and review this podcast. Hit that subscribe or follow button so you don't miss any new episodes coming out. And as always, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment and let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this episode.